After all these years, I finally bought a helmet that did not have a comm system already pre-installed. That gave me an excuse to buy something that I've been looking at for a while. I ended up getting the Cardo Packtalk Pro. Let's unbox it, let's talk about the features, and more importantly, let's get it installed in this lid. Hey Cardo, music on. What's up? Jim here. Welcome back to J Street Moto. Welcome to the channel if it's your first time. If you watched the last video that I made, it was about this Simpson Ghost Bandit helmet and how I got it specifically so that I could set it up for my riding videos that I do. Because it doesn't come with a communication system though, that gave me the opportunity to buy something that I've been looking at, the Cardo Packtalk Pro. I've been looking at the Cardo product line for a while and finally had the reason or excuse to buy one. This just arrived today and I've been itching to get my hands on it. I've not unboxed it. I've not even tried to fit it to the helmet to figure out where it's going to go on there. That could be interesting, quite honestly, because of the location of the slider for the visor on the inside and the vents back here. I'm hoping I can fit it like right there and it won't obstruct the vents too much. I've never installed one of these on a helmet, so if you see some wonky cutting back and forth in here, just thank me for it because it saved you the couple of hours it's probably going to take me to do this, maybe. When I whittled it down to 15 minutes and made it look like, oh, well, you know, Jim did everything perfect the first time. It ain't going to happen that way. I guarantee you it's not going to happen that way. So the unit comes in this cool little box. You open it, and on the inside, we have the Cardo unit itself. We take that out of the top. We're gonna set it over here to the side for a second. I'll take some secondary video with the camera over top of everything after it's out of the box. This is what comes in the box. You've got the actual Cardo unit, the bracket that it mounts to. You've got the two mounting options for said bracket. Two different microphones. You've got the boom mic and you have the regular mic. Charging cable, the cushy pad to make the speakers go closer to your ear, or the regular felt mounts for it, the felt mounts for your microphones, installation guide, warranty information, a detailed kind of pocket guide, a Cardo sticker, and the 45mm JBL speakers. And you got some alcohol wipes that you can use to clean it off. And there's a QR code on the box so that you can download the app on your phone and activate the unit. That's everything in the box. You just saw everything unboxed, and I decided as I was doing the edit to pretty much get rid of a lot of the video that I shot that night. Instead, I decided to make this addendum because I have been using this device in this helmet for about 3 weeks now, and that's given me some time to really appreciate what Cardo has done. What I decided to do was make a short little section here before I show you me installing it in the helmet and tell you kind of what features this unit has that, based on how you decide to do your setup, what I mean by setup is how you're going to have things connected, if there's any feature that you lose. I wanted to talk to y'all about that for a second, and then I wanted to talk about the cost of this thing and whether or not I think it's worth it. If you know anything about the Cardo Packtalk Pro, one of the things they introduced in this unit was crash detection. To put things in perspective, this unit has an accelerometer in it of some sort, and what it does is, if it's connected to your phone and you've got it enabled, you can set up an emergency contact. In my case, I used my spouse. If the accelerometer goes off in a way that this unit perceives you've been in an accident, it will send a message via text to whoever you've identified as the emergency contact. That text will notify them that you've been in an accident, and it will send a link so that they can go online and see your actual GPS location. It's a really cool feature, and for those that do a lot of solo riding, especially long distances, it's a good peace of mind feature for your loved one, and it's a good safety feature for you, quite frankly, because they can then, say you're in the middle of nowhere when this happens, they've been alerted, you might not be in a position where you can make a call to emergency services. They can, and they can give them the GPS location. You might get help sooner. So I love that Cardo put that in this device. One side note on that, it doesn't work if you are an off-road kind of adventurer. You're doing a bunch of really rough off-road riding, running trails. Don't enable that feature because the unit will interpret your natural riding in those conditions as an accident, and it will potentially send an alert to your emergency contact. Probably not a good idea to have that enabled if you're doing that kind of riding. As of yet, it's really only designed for folks that are going to be on the street. Another thing that I really like about this device is you can tell it what you want it to do. An example would be I can tell it, hey Cardo, music on, and it will turn on whatever app I was most recently using on my phone for music and start playing it. I can tell it to turn the volume up, turn the volume down, and it will do those things for me without me having to take my hands off the handlebars or reach to my helmet and do anything with buttons. I can just tell it to do it and it does it. Something for you to consider, and it may or may not, it's not going to matter to me, but it may matter to you. If you have a motorcycle that has I'll call it a stereo system. On a Harley Davidson, it's the infotainment system. Other touring motorcycles that have some kind of entertainment system on them, there are several where you can use CarPlay or Android Auto while you're riding. At least in Harley's case, that requires you to have a comm system connected to the bike. So this device in my helmet has to be connected to the motorcycle, my phone's connected to the motorcycle, and the motorcycle is an intermediary. It's in between the two. In the Cardo documentation, when you're looking at stuff and when you're watching videos on their website, when you hear them mention the term TFT, that is what they are talking about. Your motorcycle is the TFT, and you are connecting your helmet to it or the Cardo unit to it, and you are connecting your phone to it. As soon as you run a setup like that, crash detection won't work. Talking to the Cardo unit to get it to do things like turn your music on, turn your music off, volume up, volume down, that's not going to work. So a lot of the cool, like nifty things that it does, you lose that if you're connecting it to a TFT. That may or may not matter to you. I've found for me, if I'm riding alone, I'll connect this direct to my phone so the crash detection is enabled and I'm controlling everything with my voice. Chances are I'm riding someplace I'm very familiar with anyway, so it's not like I need to navigate. On long distance trips, I'm gonna be riding with other people. I usually don't take long distance trips solo. When I'm set up for long distance trips, I'll just connect this to the bike. I'll connect the phone to the bike and I'll just use CarPlay on my bike while I'm on those longer trips. That's how I'm going to choose to use it. I did want to point out though that 100% of the functionality of this unit is not available to you if that's the kind of setup that you're going to run when you're riding. If you're going to run that, I want to have CarPlay, or I want to have Android Auto or whatever. If you're going to run that kind of setup, you're going to lose some functionality because it only works when this is connected directly to the phone. The audio quality out of this unit, it's at least 200% better or more than any other helmet and audio system I've listened to inside a helmet. I was one of those people that never thought mid-range and bass tones could be generated inside of a helmet. This has proved me wrong. Your music is going to feel like full range now and not just tinny. That's a huge plus for me. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. When you look at Bluetooth comm systems that don't already come loaded in helmets, they range pretty widely in price. And what I would say is, I didn't look at everything and compare, but I think Cardo comes in on the higher end of the price point for these. So if you're budget conscious about what you're trying to do with your helmet and having a communication system in it, you might want to look at some of the entry-level products from Cardo, which are cheaper. Every manufacturer has entry-level or budget-friendly kind of options, and then they have their Cadillac. I would say this is the Cadillac of the Cardo product line. I can't remember what I paid for it. Let's call it high 400s, $470 or something like that. Do I think that this unit and the setup that I put in the helmet is worth twice the cost of my last already Bluetooth-enabled modular helmet? The Cena helmet was like $240. This costs twice that, just the comm system. Do I think it's worth it? I do. For me, I do. That's a personal choice. This was worth it to me. I have no buyer's remorse associated with what I spent for this device. The quality difference is noticeable enough to me. The value is there. Get back to the installation. Now I'm going to do what I really wanted to do tonight, and that's put this thing in there. See if I can figure out how to take the helmet apart so that I can put everything in it. That ought to be interesting. Not as hard as I thought. I took out the cheek pads in the helmet. The top liner, if it comes out, I can't figure out how to take it out yet or right now, and I'm not really too concerned about it. I can run this stuff the old-fashioned way. something to keep in mind when you're doing this. I'm looking at my holes for the comm system right now. So what I'm going to do for my setup, the cheek pads have a cutout in them, and this is kind of like plastic, so I'm going to stuff the speaker in there. I'm still going to put Velcro inside the thing, but I will attach the speaker to the Velcro with it in here to hold this closer to the helmet. That's what I'm going to do on mine. I've already done it with this guy. You can kind of see it. This will be the left side of the helmet. I'm doing it this way because there's no way I'm going to get the speaker inside of this once I have it attached to the helmet. So I figured I would just put it in there first and then attach it to the helmet. So speakers are there. That has that all set up. Now, for the thing that I'm really concerned about, how I'm going to mount it. One thing that I will go ahead and say, Cardo, they tell you in their stuff, if this part of your helmet is bigger than 5 millimeters, you kind of have to use this guy. For those of us that live in the US and don't know what metric is, 5 millimeters is roughly 1/4 of an inch. It's really like 1/5 of an inch because there's 25 millimeters to an inch. I'm going to put this clip over top of this right here. That's how I'm going to try and do it at least. Let's see if we can make it work. Not going to be able to use that. Going to have to use this guy instead. I think I found the answer. Got it on there. That's where it ended up. Now, need to mount my microphone. Left myself some wiggle room, so to speak, with some of this stuff to make it a little easier for me later. Put it on backwards. Put the things on backwards. There it is. Push it in like so. That side is sort of on. There we are. That's on. Sheesh. This will be easier. And you will go back in here. Push you in. This took so long the GoPro died. Got that one there. Got that one there. There it is. That guy in. There we go. And that is the whole thing. Whole enchilada. Turns out I'm going to have to use these because the speaker won't connect to the Dilio without a little bit of cushion to get it over to it. Speakers are in, and there we are. Mount ended up being back here. I'm still able to reach. It's not really any different than the ones I've had on before. It is on a weird angle. Don't care about that too much. Side note about this Simpson helmet, it's pretty easy to take the cheek pads and stuff off once you know kind of what you're doing. The clicks in them are really strong. So that's where I ended up mounting it, right here. And I did have to use the adhesive. I couldn't use the clip, which everything I've heard is it's not a big deal to use the adhesive. The stuff's pretty strong. That's the route I went with. This probably took me, let's call it 2 hours. I'm gonna go ahead and forfeit and say it's 2 hours just to do this part, to get the helmet set up, to get everything installed in it. Keep in mind, I've never taken the pads out of this Simpson helmet before, not until now. There was a learning curve associated with that. Figuring out where I was going to mount this with the least obstruction to the air vent was another kind of hang up. I wanted to have access to it without it being too far behind my head, but I didn't want to cover up both of these. If you have the Simpson helmet, you're not going to be able to use this, and it has nothing to do with how thick this is down here. It has to do with the fact that where you would put it so that it doesn't interfere with this sliding mechanism for your drop-down visor on the inside. So it doesn't interfere with that. There is stuff in the helmet underneath the padding. There are places where the shell is like affixed to the white protective stuff on the inside of the helmet that aren't far enough apart for you to be able to get this thing through them. There's no place where you can put it on there. That's why I had to go with the adhesive. It wasn't because this was too thick. In fact, it's probably a good thickness, but you can only get it in about that far. And I didn't feel comfortable leaving that much of it sticking out. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. I don't want to take the chance. If you've researched these things at all, you know how much they cost, and I did not want to run the risk of losing one going down the road. This is how I ended up doing it. Set it on a little bit of an angle. I set it a little bit further back than probably most people have them. And the reason for that was I wanted to avoid blocking this. I could have moved it kind of forward a little bit more, but then I would have been intruding on that. And there's these creases and stuff in the helmet. I had to put it on an angle in order to get things to fit. It was, you know, a learning curve. That added to the time. That's, you know, I'm not going to sit here and say, you know, everybody's going to take 2 hours doing it, because you're probably not. For me, it took 2 hours. Drop it down in the comments if you have any questions, or send me an email. I can be reached at jstreetmoto22@gmail.com. That's JSTMOTO22@gmail.com. Send me questions there. I'm very responsive. I answer every single comment on every video personally, and I am very responsive to my emails as well. Hopefully you found this informative. It was fun for me because I got to set up my helmet. The only thing that I am currently missing in order to be able to be fully set up for using this for recording videos is I've got a Purple Panda mic that's being delivered either tomorrow or Thursday, and I need to wire that up in the helmet, bring it out where I can plug it into the camera. That's the only thing I've got left to go in this helmet. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for all the support and watching all the videos that you do. I really do appreciate it. Do me a favor, like, subscribe, click the notification bell, share it with your friends. All that stuff's absolutely free to you, and it does help the channel. Always ride safe.
Yeah, ready? 1, 2, 3, shoot. Ah. Asshole.
Really? Peace out, bitches!